His heart stopped. Emma Sullivan stood over a dying Hell's Angel, 8 crumpled dollars clutched in her trembling hand. Her last $8, her daughter's breakfast money, the only thing standing between Lily and hunger. "Let him die," the attendant shouted. "People like that aren't worth saving." A trucker walked away. A woman ran to her car. No one called 911. Gray face, blue lips, chest still. Just Emma. $8, and a stranger the world wanted dead. She made her choice. 24 hours later, 100 motorcycles rolled onto her street, and nothing would ever be the same. If you want to see how this story ends, subscribe to my channel and follow Emma's journey to the very last moment. Drop a comment telling me which city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Emma Sullivan's alarm screamed at 500 a.m. She slapped it off and forced herself up. Her body ached. Her feet throbbed. 4 hours of sleep, same as yesterday, same as the day before. She walked to the kitchen and opened the cabinet. 1 box of cereal, almost empty. She shook it. Half a bowl, maybe. She checked the fridge, enough milk for 1 serving. She poured everything into a single bowl and set it on the table. Footsteps behind her. "Mommy." Lily stood in the doorway, 6 years old, blonde hair tangled from sleep. Pajamas too small because Emma couldn't afford new ones. "Morning, baby." Emma kissed her head. "Breakfast is ready." Lily climbed into her chair, looked at the bowl, looked at her mother. "Aren't you eating?" "Already ate. Had some toast earlier." "Liar." Emma blinked. "Excuse me." "You always say that. You never eat breakfast. I'm 6, not stupid." Lily pushed the bowl toward her mother. "Share with me." Emma's throat tightened. "Baby, that's yours." "Share or I won't eat either." They stared at each other in a 6-year-old standoff. Emma grabbed a spoon, took 1 bite. "Happy? Happier." Lily pulled the bowl back and started eating. This kid, too smart, too stubborn, too much like her mother. Emma watched her daughter eat and did the math in her head. Rent due in 3 days, 150 short. Lily's inhaler needed refilling, $60. Electricity bill overdue. And after last night's tips, she had exactly $31.47 to her name. 2 years ago, things were different. 2 years ago, Derek was still here, her husband, Lily's father, the man who swore he'd love her forever. He vanished on a Tuesday night, took $3,000 from their savings, left a note on the kitchen table. "I can't do this anymore." No explanation. No goodbye to Lily. Just gone. He left behind credit card debt Emma didn't know existed, a car loan, medical bills from Lily's birth he'd sworn he was paying. She found out about all of it after he disappeared. Lily's voice cut through her thoughts. "Mommy?" "Yeah, baby. Is Daddy ever coming back?" Emma's heart cracked. "No, sweetheart, he's not." "Did he leave because of me?" "No." "Mama." Emma grabbed Lily's face with both hands. "Never, don't ever think that. Your daddy left because some people aren't strong enough to stay. That's on him, not you, never you." Lily's eyes searched her mother's face. "Do you miss him?" "I miss who I thought he was, but the real him, the one who left us." Emma shook her head. "No, I don't miss him at all." Lily nodded slowly. "Good, I don't miss him either." She went back to eating. Emma wiped her eyes and checked the clock. Time to move. 20 minutes later, Emma walked Lily down the hall to Mrs. Chen's apartment. Mrs. Chen opened the door. 68 years old, retired teacher. The only person in this building who didn't look at Emma with pity or judgment. "There's my favorite girl." Mrs. Chen scooped Lily into a hug. "I made pancakes." "Pancakes?" Lily ran inside. Mrs. Chen studied Emma's face. "When did you last eat?" "I'm fine." "That's not what I asked." "Mrs. Chen, you're skin and bones, Emma. You can't take care of her if you collapse." She pressed a granola bar into Emma's hand. "Eat this, no arguments." Emma's eyes burned. "Thank you." "Thank me by eating. Now go. You'll be late." Emma hit the stairwell and ran straight into a wall. Not a wall, a man, Mr. Kowalski, her landlord, 63 years old, face like a bulldog, zero patience for excuses. "Emma," he blocked the stairs. "We need to talk." "I'm late for work." "Rent's due Friday." I know, I'll have it. You said that last month, and I paid last month. 3 days late, he stepped closer. I've got a waiting list, Emma. 12 people who'd kill for your apartment. People who pay on time. I've never missed a payment. Yet, he jabbed a finger at her chest. Friday, full amount, or you and that girl are out. Understand? Emma's fists clenched. I understand. Good. He moved aside. Clock's ticking. She pushed past him and kept walking. Didn't look back. Couldn't afford to. Friday, 3 days, 150 short. She'd figure it out. She always figured it out. She had to. Time. Fresh Start Cleaners, 6:30 a.m. Emma walked in 2 minutes late. Her boss, Mr. Henderson, looked up from the register. You're late. 2 minutes, is it? I don't care if it's 2 seconds. Late is late. It won't happen again. It better not. I got 20 applications on my desk from people who'd show up on time. He jerked his thumb toward the back. Get to work. Emma bit her tongues and walked to the folding station. Shirts, pants, dresses, towels, hour after hour. Her hands moved on autopilot while her mind ran the numbers. $31.47 total. Minus bus fare, $28.97. Keep 20 for rent, $8.97. $8 for Lily's breakfast tomorrow. $8 between survival and nothing. Maria appeared beside her. 45. 3 kids. 12 years at the cleaners. Hey, Maria's voice dropped to a whisper. Heard Henderson talking to someone on the phone. Budget meeting next week. So he's cutting hours, maybe cutting people. Emma's stomach dropped. You're kidding. Wish I was. Just keep your head down. Don't give him a reason. I can't lose this job, Maria. I know, neither can I. Maria squeezed her arm. We'll figure it out. We always do. Emma nodded, but the numbers kept running through her head. 150 short on rent, $60 for the inhaler. Hours getting cut. How much longer could she keep this up? 2 p.m. Emma clocked out and started the 3-mile walk to Route 66 diner. Her feet screamed with every step. The hole in her left shoe let in every pebble on the sidewalk. She got to the diner at 2:45, grabbed a cup of coffee, slid into the back booth. Dolores appeared across from her, 60 years old, silver hair, 20 years at Route 66. You look like death. Thanks, Dolores. Really appreciate that. When's the last time you slept more than 4 hours? Emma didn't answer. That's what I thought. Dolores leaned forward. Honey, you're killing yourself. That little girl needs a mother, not a ghost. What choice do I have? Bills don't pay themselves. There's got to be something, some program. I make too much for assistance, not enough to live. I'm stuck in the gap. The system's broken. Tell me something I don't know. Dolores reached across the table, grabbed Emma's hand. Something's going to change for you. I can feel it. You're due for a break. Emma smiled, didn't believe it, but it was nice to hear. The dinner shift was brutal. Truckers, families with screaming kids, a table of teenagers who ran up 50 and tipped $2. Emma moused from table to table, smile fixed in place, feet numb, back on fire. More coffee. How's the food? Anything else I can get you? 9 o'clock. An older man in a business suit flagged her down. Expensive watch, clean fingernails. Miss, this steak is overcooked. I'm sorry, sir. I can have the kitchen. I asked for medium rare. This is medium. Maybe medium well. Let me take it back. Do you understand the difference between medium rare and medium? Emma's jaw tightened. Yes, sir. Then why did you bring me the wrong steak? I didn't cook it, sir. I just... Excuses. He shook his head. This is why people like you stay stuck in jobs like this. No attention to detail, no accountability. Emma felt something snap inside her. She wanted to dump his water in his lap, wanted to tell him exactly where he could shove his medium rare steak. Instead, she smiled. I'll have the kitchen fix it right away, sir. She took the plate, walked to the kitchen, stood there for 10 seconds with her eyes closed, breathing. Don't react. Don't lose this job. Lily needs you. She got the new steak. Brought it back. The man didn't even look at her. His tip $3 on a 45 bill. 10 Partners PM. Shift over. Emma sat in the back room and counted her tips. $23 for 6 hours of work, 6 hours of smiling at people who treated her like furniture. She pulled out her phone. Did the math one more time. $8.47 from yesterday, plus 23 tonight, $31.47, minus bus fare, $28.97, 20 for rent, $8.97 left. She counted out secondly, put it in her pocket. Lily's breakfast money. That's all she had. 8 crumpled dollars and 18 cents in change. She started the 2-mile walk home. 11 p.m. The streets were dead. Emma walked fast, keys between her fingers, head on a swivel. She decided to cut through the gas station on Maple Street. There was a restroom there and she needed to stop. The place was nearly empty. One car at the pump, a bored attendant inside staring at his phone. Emma used the restroom. Walked back outside. That's when she saw him. A man, massive, at least 6'3", gray beard, arms covered in tattoos, black leather vest with patches. Hell's Angels. The skull logo glowed under the fluorescent lights. Emma's heart stuttered. She'd heard stories. Everyone had. Dangerous, criminal. Stay away. She started walking toward the street. Don't make eye contact. Just keep moving. The man stumbled. His hand flew to his chest. Emma stopped. He dropped to one knee, his face twisted, gray spreading across his skin. Then he collapsed, flat on his back, gasping. Emma stood frozen. His breathing got worse, shorter, desperate. His lips turned blue. Every instinct screamed at her to run. This wasn't her problem. She had Lily to think about. Then his chest stopped moving. "Hey," Emma shouted at the gas station. "Someone call 911. The attendant stepped outside. White guy 30s, cigarette hanging from his lips. He looked at the man, looked at Emma. "Lady, are you crazy? He's having a heart attack. Call 911. "You see that vest? That's a Hell's Angel. I don't care what he is." "Well, you should." The attendant took a drag from his cigarette. "Those guys are killers, drug dealers. You help him, you're inviting the whole gang into your life. He's dying. Probably overdosed on something. They're always tweaking. His lips are blue. That's not an overdose." The attendant shrugged. "Not my problem. And if you're smart, it won't be yours either." He turned and walked back inside. Emma stared after him in disbelief. An older man walked out of the store, white 60s trucker cap, bag of chips in his hand. He saw the scene and headed for his pickup. "Sir," Emma called, "please, can you call 911? The man stopped, looked at the biker, looked at Emma. "Miss, let me give you some advice. He needs help. Don't get involved." He walked toward her. "I've been driving these roads for 40 years. I've seen what these gangs do to people. You help him, they'll own you. You understand? They'll think you're connected. They'll come to your house, your work. I have a daughter. Then think about her. You want these animals knowing where she lives. He's a human being. He's a Hell's Angel." The trucker grabbed her arm. "That's not a human being. That's a predator wearing human skin. Leave him. Let nature take its course." Emma yanked her arm back. "Someone has to help him." "Then let it be someone else, not you." He shook his head. "Some people aren't worth saving, miss. Learn that now or learn it the hard way." He walked to his truck and drove off without looking back. A woman came out of the store next. 40s, business casual, probably stopping for gas on her way home from work. "Ma'am," Emma ran toward her. "Please, there's a man." The woman saw the biker on the ground and stopped cold. "Oh my God. He's having a heart attack. Can you call 911? The woman's face hardened. "Is that a Hell's Angel?" "It doesn't matter. It absolutely matters." She clutched her purse tighter. "I'm not getting involved with those people. Neither should you. He'll die." "Then he dies." The woman backed away. "I have children at home. I'm not risking my family for that." She got in her car and drove away. Emma stood alone in the parking lot. 3 people, 3 chances, 3 refusals. She looked down at the biker. His face was gray, lips blue, chest still, not breathing. This was a human being, Whatever he'd done, whoever he was dying right now, right in front of her, and she was the only one who could help. She thought about her grandmother. Rose had collapsed on a sidewalk 15 years ago. A stroke. Emma was just a teenager. People walked past, stepped over her like she was trash. 10 minutes before someone stopped. 10 minutes. Rose survived, but she was never the same. Those 10 minutes cost her everything. Emma had spent 15 years wondering about those people. How could they just walk away? Now she understood. It was easy to walk away, easy to tell yourself it wasn't your problem. But her grandmother's words echoed in her head. Kindness costs nothing, baby. Sometimes it's all we got to give. Emma looked at the $8 in her pocket. Lily's breakfast. Her daughter would wake up hungry tomorrow. But this man was dying right now. I'm sorry, Lily, she whispered. And she ran. So she sprinted into the gas station. Aspirin, where's the aspirin? The attendant didn't look up from his phone. Aisle 3. She grabbed a bottle, grabbed a water, ran to the counter. $7.82. Emma slapped down her $8. The attendant raised an eyebrow. You're really doing this. Just give me my change. Your funeral. He handed her 18 cents. Don't say I didn't warn you. Emma ran back outside. The biker hadn't moved. Still not breathing, she dropped to her knees, ripped open the aspirin, forced his mouth open. Come on, come on, come on. She'd read somewhere that aspirin helps during heart attacks, thins the blood, buys time. She crushed 2 tablets between her teeth, transferred them to his mouth, poured water, massaged his throat. Swallow, please. Swallow. Nothing. She positioned her hands on his chest. CPR. She'd watched a video once. Never actually done it. But she had to try. She pressed down. Hard. Fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe. She tilted his head, pinched his nose, blew into his lungs. Nothing. Back to compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't you die on me. Her arms burned. Sweat poured down her face. She kept going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, she heard sirens in the distance. That's it. Help is coming. Hold on to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The man's eyes fluttered. He coughed. Once. Twice. Then he gasped. A huge, desperate gulp of air. Yeah, Emma cried. Yes, keep breathing. His chest rose, fell, rose, fell. Weak, but there, he was alive. Emma collapsed beside him, sobbing. The man's eyes opened. Gray eyes, clouded with pain but aware. His hand moved, reached for hers. Emma grabbed it. You're okay, she said through her tears. Help is coming. You're gonna be okay. His lips moved. He was trying to say something. Emma leaned closer. Lily, he whispered. Emma's blood went cold. Lily, her daughter's name. What did you say? But his eyes closed. His hand went limp. The ambulance roared into the parking lot. Paramedics rushed over, pushed Emma aside. Ma'am, step back. We've got him. Emma stumbled backward, her mind spinning. Lily. Why did he say Lily? How did a dying Hell's Angel know her daughter's name? She watched them load him onto a stretcher. Start an IV, attach monitors. One paramedic turned to her. Did you do CPR? Emma nodded. You saved his life. In another minute and he'd be gone. The ambulance doors closed. Sirens wailed. The vehicle disappeared into the night. Emma stood alone. She looked at her palm. 18 cents. That's all she had now. 18 cents. Lily's breakfast money was gone. Her daughter would wake up hungry tomorrow. But a man was alive. Emma started the long walk home. 18 cents in her pocket. One word echoing in her mind. Lily. She didn't sleep. She sat by the window all night, watching the street, waiting. Lily. How did he know that name? It had to be a coincidence. Millions of people named Lily. But it didn't feel like a coincidence. At 6:00 a.m., she got Lily dressed, walked her to Mrs. Chen's apartment. Pancakes again, Mrs. Chen announced. Lily ran inside. Mrs. Chen looked at Emma. You didn't sleep. I'm fine. That's a lie, and we both know it. I have to go to work. Emma. Thank you for the pancakes. She walked away before Mrs. Chen could ask more questions. Work was a blur, folding, serving, smiling, moving. Her tips that night, $19. Not enough, never enough. She started the walk home at 10 to 10 p.m. Her mind kept returning to the biker, the whisper, the name. Was he still alive? Did he survive? She'd probably never know. She turned onto her street and stopped. People outside her building. A lot of people. Mrs. Patterson stood on the sidewalk talking to other neighbors, arms crossed, face angry. What's going on? Emma asked. Mrs. Patterson turned. Her expression shifted to something ugly. There was a man here, a biker, asking about you. Emma's blood turned to ice. What? Big guy, tattoos, scary as hell. Mrs. Patterson stepped closer. He wanted to know which apartment was yours, your name, where you work. What did you tell him? Nothing. I called the cops. She grabbed Emma's arm. What did you do? What kind of trouble have you brought to our building? I didn't do anything wrong. A man was dying. I helped him. You helped a Hell's Angel. Other neighbors gathered, watching, whispering. He was having a heart attack. So you should have let him die, Emma flinched. What? People like that are scum. They're criminals, killers. Mrs. Patterson's voice rose. And now they're coming here, where my grandchildren visit. I just saved a man's life. You saved a monster's life, and now his monster friends know where we live. She jabbed her finger at Emma. If anything happens to anyone in this building, it's on you. Your fault. Your blood on your hands. She stormed inside. The other neighbors followed, giving Emma looks that burned worse than anything the customers at the diner had ever thrown at her. Emma stood alone on the sidewalk. What had she done? She went inside, got Lily from Mrs. Chen, put her to bed. Mommy, why were people yelling? Just a misunderstanding, baby. You're lying again. Go to sleep, Lily. She kissed her daughter's forehead, turned off the light. Then she sat by the window. A biker had come looking for her. Why? To thank her. To hurt her. He thought about Mrs. Patterson's words. If anything happens to anyone in this building, that's on you. She thought about Lily sleeping in the next room. Her grandmother always said kindness costs nothing. But tonight Emma wondered if that was true. Tonight it felt like kindness might cost her everything. She stayed by the window all night. 3:12 a.m. Nothing. 7 a.m. Nothing. Maybe it was over. Maybe they'd given up. At 9:00 a.m., Emma finally allowed herself to breathe. Then she heard it. Thunder. But the sky was clear. She looked out the window, and her blood turned to ice. Motorcycles, not 1, not 10, not 50, 100. 100 Hell's Angels rumbling down her street in perfect formation. Chrome gleaming in the morning sun. Leather vests, skull patches. Faces like stone. They were coming for her. Mrs. Patterson burst out of the building screaming. Other neighbors ran inside, slamming doors. Somewhere a child started crying. Emma watched the motorcycle stop in front of her building. 100 engines cut off at the same time, silence. Then the lead biker dismounted. He looked up at her window, and Emma Sullivan realized her life was about to change forever. Emma's legs wouldn't move. 100 motorcycles. 100 Hell's Angels, all parked in front of her building. Mrs. Patterson's screams echoed from the street below. Call the police! Call the police! Doors slammed throughout the building. Locks clicked. Curtains drew shut. Emma stood frozen at the window watching the lead biker dismount. He was massive, taller than the man she'd saved. Younger, maybe mid-40s. Dark skin, shaved head, arms like tree trunks. His leather vest had more patches than she could count. He looked up at her window. Their eyes met. Emma's heart stopped. Mommy, she spun around. Lily stood in the doorway rubbing her eyes. Baby, go back to your room. Why are there so many motorcycles outside? Lily, please. A knock at the door. Not a knock, a pounding. 3 heavy thuds that shook the frame. Emma grabbed Lily and pulled her behind the couch. Stay here, don't move. Don't make a sound. Mommy, I'm scared. I know, baby. Me too. But I need you to be brave. Can you do that? Lily nodded, eyes wide. Emma kissed her forehead. Stay hidden. She walked to the door. Her hands shook so badly she could barely grip the handle. Another pound. Emma Sullivan. A man's voice. Deep. commanding. Emma took a breath, opened the door. The biker filled the entire doorframe. Up close, he was even bigger than she'd thought. His eyes were hidden behind dark sunglasses. A thick scar ran from his left ear to his jaw. Behind him, she could see other bikers in the hallway. 5, 6, maybe more. "Are you Emma Sullivan?" the man asked. Emma's voice came out as a whisper. "Yes, the woman who saved Hawk's life last night." She nodded. The man removed his sunglasses. His eyes were red, wet. He'd been crying. "My name is Marcus Cole. They call me Viper." His voice cracked. "I'm the vice president of this chapter. Hawk he's like a father to me." Emma didn't know what to say. Viper reached into his vest. Emma flinched, expecting a weapon. He pulled out a piece of paper, a receipt. "The nurse found this in Hawk's pocket," he said. "Aspirin, water, $7.82, time-stamped 11:07 p.m. He looked at her with those wet eyes. "The doctor said he flatlined. His heart stopped completely. They said someone did CPR for at least 3 minutes before the ambulance arrived." His voice broke. "That someone was you." Emma's throat tightened. I couldn't let him die." The gas station attendant told us what happened. Said a woman bought aspirin with her last $8. Said she did CPR while everyone else watched. Viper's jaw clenched. "He also told us he refused to help. Told you to let Hawk die. He was scared. He was a coward." Viper's voice hardened. "But you weren't. You had nothing, less than nothing. And you gave it all to save a stranger." He turned and made a gesture to the bikers behind him. They parted. More bikers came forward carrying things. Bags, boxes, envelopes. "What is this?" Emma asked. "This is what happens when you save a Hell's Angel's life." A woman pushed through the crowd, Latina, maybe 50, with silver streaks in her dark hair. She wore a leather vest too, but hers said "Property of Viper" on the back. "I'm Rosa," she said, her accent thick. "Viper's wife. May I come in?" Emma hesitated, then stepped aside. Rosa walked in, looked around the small apartment, and her eyes filled with tears. "Dios mío," she whispered. "You live like this. It's home." Rosa turned to her. "Where's your daughter?" Emma's blood went cold. "How do you know I have a daughter?" "Hawk told us. Before he went into surgery, he kept saying one word over and over." Rosa's voice softened. "Lily." Emma's knees buckled. She grabbed the wall for support. Why did he say her name? How does he know my daughter?" Rosa and Viper exchanged a look. "You should sit down," Viper said. "I don't want to sit down. I want answers. How does a Hell's Angel know my 6-year-old daughter's name?" Viper took a deep breath. "Because Hawk had a daughter too. Her name was Lily." Emma stared at him. She died 10 years ago, leukemia. She was 7 years old." The world tilted. "The nurse told Hawk your name," Rosa continued. "Emma Sullivan, and your daughter's name, Lily." When he heard that, she wiped her eyes. "He thought his daughter had sent you, like an angel, a sign from heaven." Emma sank onto the couch. Her mind couldn't process what she was hearing. "Hawk started this club 30 years ago," Viper said. "But after Lily died, he changed it. Changed everything. We're not what people think we are." "What are you, Toyin?" Viper sat down across from her. The leather creaked under his weight. "We help people. Single mothers, veterans, kids in foster care, anyone who's struggling and has no one to turn to." He pulled out his phone, showed her photos. "This is Maria. We paid for her son's cancer treatment. This is James, a vet who lost both legs in Afghanistan. We built him a wheelchair-accessible house. This is Destiny, aged out of foster care at 18. We put her through college." Emma scrolled through the photos. Dozens of them. Families, kids, elderly people, all smiling, all standing next to bikers in leather vests. "We call it Lily's Angels," Rosa said, "in honor of Hawk's daughter. Her dying wish was for her daddy to help other kids, other families." She took Emma's hand. "In 10 years, we've helped over 500 families, paid off mortgages, bought cars, covered medical bills, put kids through school." "Why?" Emma whispered. "Why do you do this?" Viper leaned forward. Because Hawk learned something when Lily was sick. He learned that the world is cruel to people who have nothing. Doctors who won't treat you because you can't pay. Landlords who throw you out when you're at your lowest. Neighbors who look the other way because your problems aren't their problems. His eyes locked onto hers. Sound familiar? Emma thought about Mr. Kowalski, about the gas station attendant, about the trucker and the woman who said, "Then he dies." Hawk decided that if the world wasn't going to help people like us, we'd help each other, Viper continued. That's what the Hells Angels are, Emma. At least that's what Hawk's chapter is. We're the family that people don't have, the safety net that doesn't exist. A small voice came from behind the couch. "Mommy?" Lily's head peeked out. Rosa gasped. She's beautiful." "Lily, I told you to stay hidden." The big man looked sick. Lily walked toward Viper, no fear, no hesitation. "Why are you so on?" Viper stared at this tiny blonde girl walking toward him like he was any other person. Not a Hell's Angel, not a monster, just a man. "I'm sad because my friend is sick," he said, his voice suddenly gentle. "But your mommy saved him." "Mommy saves everyone." Lily climbed onto the couch next to Emma. "She gives away all our food and never eats anything." "Lily, it's true, she thinks I don't notice, but I do." Rosa wiped her eyes again. "Mija, can you do me a favor? Can you go look in those bags by the door?" Lily looked at Emma. Emma nodded. Lily ran to the bags, opened one. Her eyes went wide. "Mommy, there's cereal and milk and—" She dug deeper. "Pop-Tarts. We never get Pop-Tarts." She opened another bag, juice boxes and crackers, and her voice got small. "Mommy, there's so much food." Emma's eyes burned. "What is this groceries?" Rosa said. "A month's worth, maybe two." "I can't accept this." "You can and you will." Viper's voice left no room for argument. "This isn't charity. This is family taking care of family." "But I'm not family. I'm a stranger who—" "You saved Hawk's life with your last $8. Viper stood up. "That makes you family. Forever." He walked to the door and whistled. More bikers came in, carrying more things. "What's happening?" Emma asked. "We're fixing your life." A biker with a gray ponytail stepped forward. "I'm Gears, mechanic. I already towed your car to my shop. Transmission right, it'll be done by tomorrow, no charge." "My car? How did you know about my car?" "We asked around." Gears shrugged. "Neighbors talk, especially when 100 motorcycles show up." Another biker, a white woman with sleeve tattoos, came forward. "I'm Donna. I work at Riverside Medical. Your daughter's inhaler prescription is filled. 6 months supply. Paid in full." Emma's hand flew to her mouth. "How did you go?" "Same way, asked around. Your neighbor, Mrs. Chen, mentioned him. Mrs. Chen talked to you." "Sweet lady, made us tea." Donna smiled. "Said you're the kindest person she's ever met. Said you deserve a miracle." A knock came from the hallway, Mrs. Patterson's voice angry and shrill. "I called the police. They're on their way." Viper sighed. "I'll handle this." He walked out. Emma heard voices in the hallway. Mrs. Patterson yelling. Viper's voice calm, steady. A few minutes later, he came back. "She's informed." "Informed?" "I showed her our foundation paperwork, our 501c3 status, our community service records." He smirked slightly. "She's currently rethinking some life choices." On cue, Mrs. Patterson appeared in the doorway. Her face was pale, her eyes red. "Emma, She stopped, swallowed. "I had no idea. I thought—" "Everyone always says that we're criminals," Viper asked. "Killers, monsters." Mrs. Patterson flinched. "Some clubs are, we're not. But people see the vest, the tattoos, and they assume." He looked at Emma. "Just like they assumed you were wrong to help a dying man." Mrs. Patterson walked toward Emma. Her hands were shaking. "I said terrible things to you last night. About letting him die. About it being your fault if something happened." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I was wrong. I've been wrong about so many things." Mrs. Patterson. "No, let me finish." She grabbed Emma's hands. "You've lived in this building for 2 years. You've carried my groceries. You've checked on me when I was sick. You've been nothing but kind, and I've treated you like, like someone who wasn't worth helping, Viper offered. Mrs. Patterson sobbed. Yes, God forgive me. Yes. Emma pulled her into a hug. It's okay. It's not okay, but I'm going to do better. I promise, She pulled back, wiped her face. Is there anything I can do? Anything at all, Rosa spoke up. We're looking for volunteers, for the foundation, people who want to help. Mrs. Patterson straightened. Sign me up. Viper nodded with something like respect. We'll be in touch. Mrs. Patterson left, still wiping her eyes. Emma sat back down, overwhelmed. This is too much. It's all too much. There's more, Viper said. More? How can there possibly be more? Viper pulled out an envelope. Thick, bulging. Inside this envelope is $10,000 in cash. Emma's heart stopped. What? For your rent, your bills, whatever you need. I can't take $10,000. You're not taking it. You're receiving it. There's a difference. He set the envelope on the coffee table. This money came from our members, from families we've helped who wanted to pay it forward, from businesses we've supported who support us back. He sat down again, his voice softening. Emma, I need you to understand something. What you did last night, it doesn't happen. People don't help us. They don't help anyone who looks like us. They cross the street. They call the cops. They let us die in parking slots. His voice cracked. Hawk has been riding for 40 years. 40 years. And you're the first stranger who ever stopped to help him. The first one who looked past the vest and saw a human being. Emma thought about the gas station, the attendant, the trucker, the woman. Then he dies. Were 3 words that said everything about the world they lived in. Hawk wants to meet you, Viper continued. When he's strong enough, he's out of surgery, stable. The doctors say he'll make a full recovery. Because of you, Rosa added, the aspirin thinned his blood. The CPR kept oxygen flowing to his brain. 3 minutes without oxygen causes brain damage. You gave him 4. 4 minutes of CPR with no training, no help, no one telling you what to do. I watched a YouTube video once, Emma mumbled. Viper laughed. It transformed his face, made him look almost gentle. A YouTube video saved the president of our chapter. I'm going to tell that story for the rest of my life. Lily tugged on Emma's sleeve. Mommy, can we keep the Pop-Tarts? Emma laughed through her tears. Yes, baby, we can keep the Pop-Tarts. And the juice boxes, all of it. Lily threw her arms around her mother. This is the best day ever. Emma held her daughter and cried. Rosa knelt beside them. There's one more thing, Mija. Hawk wanted me to tell you something. A message. He said... She paused, remembering the exact words. Tell her Lily sent her. Tell her my daughter's been watching over both of them. And now we will too. Emma couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Her grandmother Rose had always believed in angels, in signs, in the idea that the people we lose are never really gone. Emma hadn't believed in anything since Derek left. But now sitting in her tiny apartment surrounded by Hell's Angels and groceries and hope, she wondered if maybe, just maybe, her grandmother was right. Maybe kindness really did cost nothing. And maybe sometimes it came back to you 100-fold. Viper stood. We should let you rest, process all this. But Emma, she looked up at him. This isn't over. This is just the beginning. Hawk has plans, big plans, and they involve you. What kind of plans? Viper smiled. He'll tell you himself, when he's ready. He headed for the door, then stopped. One more thing. The people who refused to help you last night. The attendant, the trucker, the woman. His eyes went cold. We know who they are. Emma's stomach dropped. What are you going to do? Nothing violent. That's not who we are. But they're going to learn something about consequences. About what happens when you watch a man dying and do nothing. He opened the door. They're going to learn that karma rides a motorcycle. He walked out. The other bikers followed, each one nodding to Emma as they passed. Gears, Donna, a dozen others whose names she didn't know. Rosa lingered. You're one of us now, Emma, whether you want to be or not. You saved family. That makes you family. She kissed Emma's cheek. I'll check on you tomorrow. Make sure you are eating." Then she was gone too. Emma sat in the silence of her apartment. Groceries everywhere, money on the table, her car being fixed, her daughter's medicine paid for. 24 hours ago, she had $8 to her name. Now she had a family she never expected. Lily looked up at her. "Mommy." "Yeah, baby. Those people aren't scary at all." Emma laughed. "No, I guess they're not. The big sad man Viper, he has kind eyes, just like you." "You think so?" "Mm-hmm." Lily grabbed a juice box from one of the bags. "Can we bring some food to Mrs. Chen? She gives us pancakes all the time. We should give her something back." Emma stared at her daughter, 6 years old, living in poverty, never having enough. And her first thought was to share with someone else. "Yeah, baby." Emma pulled her close. "We can definitely do that." 2 hours later, Emma's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. "Hello, Emma, ma'am." "Ma Sullivan." A man's voice. Weak, raspy, but warm. "Yes, this is Richard Kane. Most people call me Hawk." Emma sat down slowly. "You shouldn't be making phone calls. You just had surgery." A wheezy laugh. "That's exactly what the nurses said. I told them I had someone important to thank." "You don't have to thank me." "Yes, I do. What you did last night." "Emma, I've been writing for 40 years. I've seen people cross the street to avoid me. I've had mothers pull their other children away. I've watched people's faces change the second they see my vest." His voice cracked. "But you had nothing, less than nothing, and you gave it all to save my life. Anyone would have—" "No, they wouldn't. They didn't. 3 people watched me dying and walked away. You were the only one who stopped." Emma thought about that, about the attendant's shrug, the trucker's advice, the woman's cold dismissal. "I couldn't just let you die," she said finally. "My grandmother always said kindness cost nothing." "Your grandmother sounds like a wise woman." "She was. She passed 4 years ago." "I'm sorry." A pause. "My daughter passed too. 10 years ago. Leukemia. Viper told me. And Rosa? I'm so sorry." "Her name was Lily, just like your daughter. When the nurse told me that," his voice broke, "I thought my little girl had sent you, like she was still watching over me, still taking care of her daddy." Emma wiped her eyes. "I don't know if I believe in things like that." "Neither did I. Not anymore. I stopped believing in anything good after she died. Stopped believing in angels involved in any of it." He coughed. "But then you showed up. A stranger with $8 and a good heart. And you saved my life." He paused. "Maybe angels don't have wings, Emma. Maybe they have worn-out shoes and empty refrigerators and little girls named Lily. Maybe they're just ordinary people who choose to be extraordinary when it matters." Emma couldn't speak. The tears were flowing too fast. "I want to meet you," Hawk continued. "Face to face, I want to shake your hand and look you in the eye and thank you properly. But more than that," he took a breath, "I want to offer you something. The money is more than enough. Not money, something better." Another pause. "A job." "A job. I run a foundation, Lily's Angels. We help people who have nothing and no one. Single mothers, vets, kids aging out of foster care. People the world has forgotten." "Viper told me." "What Viper didn't tell you is that I've been looking for someone. For years. Someone to be the face of our outreach. Someone who knows what it's like to struggle. To have nothing. To be judged and dismissed and overlooked." Emma's heart pounded. "I've met a lot of people, Emma. Interviewed dozens of candidates. MBAs, social workers, nonprofit veterans. None of them felt right. None of them understood." His voice strengthened despite its weakness. "Then you came along. A woman who had $8 to her name and spent it on a stranger. A woman who did CPR she learned from YouTube while everyone else watched. A woman who didn't see a Hell's Angel. She just saw a human being who needed help." "Mr. Kane." "Hawk. Call me Hawk." "Hawk, I don't have any qualifications. I fold laundry and serve coffee. I never went to college. I don't know anything about running a foundation. You know how to help people. You know what it's like to need help and not get it. You know how to see past the surface to the person underneath." He coughed again. That can't be taught, MMM. That's who you are. She sat in silence, processing. The job pays $55,000 a year. Health insurance for you and Lily. Paid time off. Flexible hours so you can be there for your daughter. He paused. And you'd never have to worry about rent again. You'd never have to choose between breakfast for your daughter and saving a stranger's life. Emma's hands trembled. $55,000. That was more than her two jobs combined. More than she'd ever made in her life. Why, she whispered, why would you do this for me? Because you did something for me that no one else would. And because my daughter, my Lily, she would have loved you. She would have looked at you and seen exactly what I see. A woman worth believing in. Emma broke down completely. I need to think about it, she managed. Like all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. Well, technically, I'm not allowed to go anywhere. Hospital rules. She laughed through her tears. I'll come visit you, she said, when you're stronger, and I'll give you my answer in person. I'd like that, Emma. I'd like that very much. They said goodbye. Emma sat on the couch, phone clutched in her hand, staring at nothing. A job, a real job, with insurance, with stability, with a future, all because she'd spent $8 on aspirin and water. Lily came running in. Mommy, Mrs. Chen loved the groceries. She cried and hugged me and said she's going to make us a special dinner tomorrow. That's wonderful, baby. Lily stopped, studied her mother's face. Why are you crying? Are you sad? No, sweetheart, I'm not sad. Then why are you crying? Emma pulled her daughter into her arms, because sometimes when something really good happens, the tears come out anyway. Happy tears. Lily considered this. That doesn't make any sense. Emma laughed. No, I guess it doesn't. They sat together in the apartment that had always felt too small, too cramped, too desperate. But today, somehow it felt like home. 2 days later, Emma walked into Riverside General Hospital. She carried flowers, cheap ones, from the grocery store, because even with $10,000 in her account and old habits died hard. The nurse at the front desk looked up. Can I help you? I'm here to see Richard Kane, Hawk. The nurse's face changed. Fear. Recognition. Are you family? Yes, Emma said. And for the first time, she meant it. I'm family. The nurse gave her a room number, 3rd floor, room 312. Emma took the elevator up. Her heart pounded with every floor. What would she say to him? How do you thank someone for changing your life? How do you tell them you've decided to take a chance on something terrifying and wonderful and completely unknown? She found room 312. The door was open. She stepped inside. Hawk lay in the hospital bed, smaller than she'd imagined. The man she'd saved in the parking lot had seemed like a giant. This man looked fragile, human, but his eyes, gray and sharp, lit up when he saw her. Emma Sullivan. His voice was stronger than it had been on the phone. The angel with the YouTube CP, she laughed nervously. The flowers are cheap. I'm sorry, I didn't know what to bring. You brought yourself, that's enough. He gestured to the chair beside his bed. Sit, please. She sat. They looked at each other for a long moment. You're smaller than I expected, he said. So are you. He laughed a real laugh, deep and warm. I like you, Emma Sullivan. Straight shooter. No games. I don't have time for games. Neither do I. Not anymore. He shifted in the bed, wincing slightly. So, have you thought about my offer? Emma took a deep breath. I have. And she looked at this man, this Hell's Angel, this grieving father, this stranger who had become something more. I'm terrified, she admitted. I've never done anything like this. I don't know if I can. But Emma thought about Lily, about Mrs. Chen, about Rosa and Viper, and the 100 bikers who had shown up at her door, about her grandmother's voice. Kindness costs nothing, baby. But I want to try, she said. I want to help people the way you helped me. I want to be part of something bigger than just surviving. Hawk's eyes glistened. Then welcome to the family, Emma Sullivan. He held out his hand. She took it. His grip was weak but warm, the grip of a man who had almost died and come back for a reason. We're going to change some lives together, he said, starting with yours. Emma squeezed his hand. Starting with ours. Through the hospital window, the sun broke through the clouds. And somewhere, Emma was certain, 2 little girls named Lily were smiling. Emma's first day at Lily's Angels started at 800 a.m. She stood outside a small office building on Harper Street, clutching a coffee she couldn't afford 3 weeks ago. Her hands trembled. Her stomach churned. What am I doing here? The door swung open. Rosa appeared, grinning wide. There she is, our newest family member. She pulled Emma into a hug. You ready? No. Rosa laughed. Good, that means you're taking it seriously. Come on, I'll show you around. The office was nothing like Emma expected. No corporate coldness, no sterile cubicles. The walls were covered with photos, hundreds of them. Families, children, veterans, elderly couples, all smiling, all standing next to bikers. These are the people we've helped, Rosa said. Every single one. We put up a new photo every time we close a case. Emma walked along the wall studying faces. A young mother holding a newborn. An old man in a wheelchair grinning next to Viper. A teenage girl in a graduation cap. How many, she whispered. 537 families. And counting. Rosa squeezed her shoulder. Soon you'll be adding your own photos up there. A door opened at the back. Viper walked out, big phone pressed to his ear. Yeah, I understand. Tell him we'll be there in an hour. He hung up and looked at Emma. You picked a hell of a first day. What's wrong? Got a call from the hospital. There's a woman there, 63 years old. Her husband died last week, heart attack, no life insurance, no savings. And yesterday she got an eviction notice. Emma's chest tightened. What's her name? Dorothy Williams. She's been crying in the hospital chapel for 2 hours. Staff doesn't know what to do with her. Why is she at the hospital? Viper's jaw clenched. Because she tried to hurt herself last night. Her neighbor found her in time. The room went silent. Emma thought about her own darkest moments. The nights after Derek left. The times she'd wondered if Lily would be better off without her. She knew that kind of pain. I want to talk to her, Emma said. Viper raised an eyebrow. You sure this isn't an easy first case? I'm sure. Rosa and Viper exchanged a look. Okay, Viper said. Let's go. The drive to Riverside General took 15 minutes. Emma spent every second of it thinking about what to say. What do you say to someone who's lost everything? Someone who's given up. They found Dorothy in the chapel. Alone, small, fragile. Her gray hair was uncombed. Her eyes were red and swollen. Viper hung back. This is your show, he murmured to Emma. We're here if you need us. Emma walked toward the front pew. Mrs. Williams. The woman looked up. Fear flickered across her face when she saw Viper and Rosa in their leather vests. Who are you? What do you want? Emma sat down beside her, not too close, not too far. My name is Emma. I work with a group that helps people who are struggling. She kept her voice soft, gentle. The hospital called us. They're worried about you. I don't need help. I just need... Dorothy's voice broke. I just need my Harold back. That's all I need. I'm so sorry about your husband. Dorothy started crying again. Deep, wrenching woes that shook her whole body. 52 years. We were married 52 years. He was my everything, my best friend, my whole world. She gripped Emma's arm. And now he's gone. And I'm going to lose our house. The house where we raised our children. The house where he proposed to me in the backyard. The eviction notice. 3 months behind on the mortgage. Harold handled all the finances. I didn't know we were in trouble. Wow, she shook her head. He was protecting me, trying not to worry me. And now, how much do you owe? $4,200. It might as well be $4 million. I have nothing. Harold's Social Security was our only income, and that stopped when She couldn't finish. Emma took her hand. Mrs. Williams, Dorothy, look at me. The old woman looked up. I know what it feels like to have nothing, to be so far down that you can't see any way up. 3 weeks ago, I had $8 to my name. $8, and I thought my life was over. Dorothy stared at her. What happened? Someone helped me. Strangers who became family. Emma glanced back at Viper and Rosa. They taught me something important. When you're at your lowest, that's when you find out who your real family is. Sometimes it's not the people you expect. I don't have family. Our kids live across the country. They have their own lives. They can't afford to help. You have family now. Emma squeezed her hand. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here. Because no one should face this alone. Dorothy broke down again. But this time Emma held her. Viper stepped forward. Mrs. Williams, I'm Marcus. I know I look scary. Most people cross the street when they see me coming. Dorothy let out a surprised laugh through her tears. But I promise you, we're here to help. That $4,000, it's handled. Paid off. Done. Dorothy's eyes went wide. What? Your mortgage is current as of this morning. We called the bank before we came here. But how, why they? Rosa knelt beside her for him. 'Cause that's what family does. We take care of each other. Dorothy looked from Rosa to Viper to Emma. I don't understand. You don't even know me. Emma smiled. We know enough. We know you're hurting. We know you need help. That's all that matters. Dorothy grabbed Emma's face with both hands. Her eyes searched Emma's desperately. Why would you do this for a stranger? Emma thought about the gas station, about the $8, about Hawk dying on the pavement and everyone walking away. Because someone did it for me, she said, and now I'm passing it on. Dorothy Williams cried for another 20 minutes. But these were different tears, not hopeless, not desperate, grateful. When they left the hospital, Rosa put her arm around Emma. That was your first case, mija. How do you feel? Emma wiped her eyes. Like I finally found what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Viper nodded slowly. Hawk was right about you. Right about what? He said you'd be a natural, said he could see it in your eyes the first time you two talked on the phone. Viper opened the car door. The man's been doing this for 30 years. He's never wrong about people. Emma got in the car, her heart fuller than it had been in years. One case, one woman, one life changed. And this was just the beginning. 2 weeks passed. Emma threw herself into the work. Case after case, family after family. Each one with their own story, their own pain, their own desperate need for someone, anyone to see them. There was Marcus Thompson, a 32-year-old black veteran who'd lost both legs in Afghanistan. He'd been living in his car for 3 months. The VA had lost his paperwork. His disability checks had stopped coming. He'd given up. Emma found him a place to live within a week, got his paperwork sorted, got his checks restarted. But more than that, she sat with him, listened to him, treated him like a human being instead of a case number. Nobody ever just listened before, Marcus told her on the day he moved into his new apartment. They all had forms to fill out, boxes to check. You actually heard me. There was Isabella Ramirez, a 17-year-old who'd aged out of foster care. No family, no support, sleeping in a shelter and working 2 jobs trying to save for community college. The foundation paid her first semester's tuition, found her a small apartment, bought her a laptop for school. Isabella hugged Emma so hard she couldn't breathe. I thought I was invisible, the girl whispered. I thought nobody cared what happened to me. You're not invisible, Emma said. Not anymore. There was Theodore Jackson, an 81-year-old man whose wife had Alzheimer's. Their insurance wouldn't cover the memory care facilities she needed. Theodore had been caring for her alone 24 hours a day for 3 years. He hadn't slept more than 2 hours at a time in months. The foundation arranged for home health care, gave Theodore respite care twice a week, paid for the medications insurance wouldn't cover. Theodore cried in Emma's office for an hour. I love her so much, he said, but I was drowning. I couldn't keep going. You're not alone anymore, Emma told him. We're here now. Each case taught Emma something new, about poverty, about desperation, about the cracks in the system that people fell through every single day. But more than that, each case taught her about herself. She was good at this, really good. She knew how to talk to people who'd given up. She knew how to see past the shame and the fear to the human being underneath. Because she'd been there. She knew what it felt like. Hawk called her every evening. His recovery was slow but steady. The doctor said he'd be out of the hospital in another week, back to full strength in a month or 2. Tell me about today, he'd say, and Emma would tell him everything. The victories, the struggles, the moments that broke her heart, and the moments that put it back together. You're doing exactly what I knew you would, Hawk said one night. You're changing lives, Emma, including your own. I couldn't do it without the foundation, without the resources. Resources don't mean anything without the right person using them. I've seen a lot of people try to do this work. Most of them burn out. They can't handle the pain. They can't handle seeing so much suffering day after day. How do you handle it? Hawk was quiet for a moment. I think about Lily, my Lily. I think about how scared she was at the end, how much pain she was in. And I remember that every person we help is someone's Lily, someone's child, someone's parent, someone's whole world. Emma wiped her eyes. I think about my grandmother. Well, she taught me that kindness was the only thing worth giving. She sounds like she was an incredible woman. She was. I just wish she could see me now, see what I'm doing. She can, Hawk said softly. I believe that. I have to believe that. Well, mine did too, more and more each day. The third week brought Emma's biggest challenge yet. She was reviewing case files when Rosa burst into her office. We have a problem. What kind of problem? A reporter from Channel 7 News. She's outside right now asking questions. Emma's stomach dropped. Questions about what? About us, about the foundation, about why a Hells Angels chapter is running a charity. Rosa's face was tight. She's got a camera crew with her. Emma stood up. What does she want? She wants an interview. With you. Me, why me? Because she heard about you, about the gas station, about the $8. Rosa grabbed her arm. Emma, this could be really good or really bad. If she spins this the wrong way, then we need to make sure she spins it right. Emma straightened her shoulders. Where is she? The reporter was standing outside the office building. Blonde, mid-30s, perfect makeup, perfect hair, the kind of woman who'd never had to choose between breakfast for her daughter and saving a stranger's life. Ms. Sullivan, I'm Jennifer Blake from Channel 7 News. Do you have a moment? Emma stepped forward. I have several moments. What do you want to know? Jennifer smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm doing a story on your organization, the Lily's Angels Foundation, run by the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. That's correct. And you're the new community outreach coordinator, a single mother who was reportedly living in poverty just a few weeks ago. Also correct. Jennifer's smile sharpened. Some people might find that suspicious. A biker gang suddenly takes an interest in a struggling woman, gives her money, gives her a job. It sounds like recruitment, or something worse. Emma felt anger rising in her chest, but she kept her voice steady. What exactly are you implying? I'm not implying anything, I'm just asking questions. No, you're not. You're fishing for a scandal that doesn't exist. Emma stepped closer. You want a story, I'll give you a story. 3 weeks ago, I watched a man die in a gas station parking lot. I was the only one who stopped to help. Everyone else walked away because of what he looked like, what he wore. Jennifer's smile faltered. I spent my last $8 on aspirin and water. I did CPR that I learned from a YouTube video. I saved his life while 3 other people watched and did nothing. Emma's voice hardened. That man is Hawk, the president of this chapter, the founder of this foundation, a man who has helped over 500 families in the past 10 years. But the Hells Angels have a reputation. The Hells Angels are a lot of things, some good, some bad, just like any group of people. Emma pointed at the office behind her. This chapter helps people. That's what we do. Every single day, we help single mothers who can't feed their kids. We help veterans who the VA has forgotten. We help elderly couples who are about to lose their homes. Jennifer was quiet now. The camera was still rolling. You want your story? Emma asked. Come inside, meet the people we've helped. Look at the photos on our wall. 537 families. Real people, real lives, real second chances. She turned and walked toward the door. Or you can stand out here and keep looking for a scandal. Your choice. Jennifer hesitated. Then she nodded to her cameraman. Let's go inside. What happened next changed everything. Jennifer Blake spent 4 hours at the foundation. She talked to Dorothy Williams, who was now volunteering 3 days a week. She talked to Marcus Thompson, who'd started a peer support group for homeless veterans. She talked to Isabella Ramirez, who was acing her first semester of college. She talked to Mrs. Patterson, who'd driven 45 minutes to tell her story on camera. I was wrong about these people, Mrs. Patterson said, tears streaming down her face. I judged them by their appearance, by their leather vests, by their tattoos, and I was completely, utterly wrong. The story aired that Friday evening. It wasn't a scandal piece. It was a tribute. Jennifer Blake stood outside the Lily's Angels office looking directly into the camera. I came here expecting to find something sinister. A biker gang using charity as a cover. What I found instead was something I wasn't prepared for. Genuine kindness. Real change. And a woman named Emma Sullivan who reminds us all that sometimes the people we least expect become the heroes we need most. The segment ended with Emma's photo. The cheap flowers she'd brought to Hawk's hospital room. The wall of families they'd helped. And Emma's voice speaking directly to the camera. Kindness costs nothing. My grandmother taught me that. Sometimes it's all we have to give, and sometimes it comes back to us in ways we never imagined. The story went viral. Within 24 hours, it had been shared over 100,000 times on social media. Donations started pouring in, not just from Riverside, from across the state, across the country. People who'd seen the story and wanted to be part of something good. The foundation's phone rang nonstop. I saw the news. How can I help? I want to donate. Where do I send a check? I'm struggling. Can you help me too? Emma answered every call, every email, every message. She worked 18-hour days. She barely slept. She barely ate. Rosa finally cornered her in the office kitchen. You need to slow down, mija. There's too much to do. There will always be too much to do. That's how this work is. You can't help anyone if you collapse. Emma leaned against the counter. I know you're right. But every time I think about stopping, I remember what it felt like. Having nothing. Having no one. I can't let anyone else feel that way if I can do something about it. Rosa took her hands. You have the biggest heart I've ever seen. But you have to protect it. Pace yourself. We're building something that will last. You don't have to save everyone in 1 week. Emma nodded slowly. You sound like Dolores, my friend from the diner. Smart woman. I should call her. I haven't talked to her since all this started. Rosa smiled. Go home, Emma. Spend time with your daughter. Call your friend. Take care of yourself. The world will still be here tomorrow. Emma went home. Lily was waiting for her drawing at the kitchen table with Mrs. Chen. Mommy. She ran into Emma's arms. I saw you on TV. You look so pretty. Emma laughed. I looked exhausted. Mrs. Chen recorded it. We've watched it 4 times. Mrs. Chen smiled from the table. You've done something special, Emma. Your grandmother would be so proud. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I hope so. That night after Lily was asleep, Emma called Dolores. There she is. Dolores's voice was warm and familiar. The famous Emma Sullivan, Channel 7 News and everything. Emma laughed. I'm not famous. Honey Frank had that story playing on the TV in the diner all weekend. Every trucker who came in wanted to know if we really knew you. Dolores paused. I'm so proud of you, Emma. So proud. I couldn't have done any of this without you. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. That's what friends do. There was noise in the background. Listen, I have to go. The dinner rush is starting. But Emma, yeah, you were always meant for something bigger than serving coffee. I knew it from the day I met you. Don't ever forget that. The line went dead. Emma sat in her small apartment, surrounded by everything that had changed. Groceries in the cabinet, medicine in the bathroom, money in the bank. But more than that, she had purpose now. A reason to get up every morning that went beyond just survival. Her phone buzzed, a text from Viper. Hawk's coming home tomorrow. He wants to see you. 10 a.m. at the clubhouse. Emma's heart skipped. Hawk was coming home. The real work was about to begin. She showed up at the clubhouse at 9:45. The place was packed, 50 bikers, maybe more, plus their families, their kids, all gathered to welcome Hawk home. Emma felt out of place. She was the only one not wearing leather, the only one who hadn't earned her place through years of loyalty and service. But then Viper appeared at her side. Relax, you look like you're about to face a firing squad. I feel like it. These people love you, Emma. You're one of us now, whether you believe it or not. A roar went up from the crowd. A black SUV pulled into the lot. The door opened, and Hawk stepped out. He looked different than Emma remembered. Smaller somehow, thinner, but his eyes were the same, sharp and warm and full of life. The crowd surged forward. Hugs, handshakes, backslaps, tears. Hawk made his way through them all, accepting each greeting with grace. Then he saw Emma. The crowd parted. Hawk walked toward her slowly. His eyes never left hers. He stopped in front of her. This man she'd saved. This stranger who'd become family. Emma Sullivan. His voice was rough with emotion. The angel with the $8. Hawk. She didn't know what else to say. He pulled her into a hug, tight, fierce, like he never wanted to let go. Thank you, he whispered in her ear, for everything, for my life, for what you've built while I was gone, for being exactly who I knew you were. Emma cried into his shoulder. She couldn't help it. I'm just doing what you taught me, she said. No. Hawk pulled back, holding her at arm's length. You're doing what you were always meant to do. I just gave you the opportunity. He turned to the crowd. Listen up, all of you. The noise died instantly. 3 weeks ago, I was dead. My heart stopped in a gas station parking lot. 3 people watched and did nothing. They saw my vest and decided I wasn't worth saving. His voice echoed across the lot. But this woman, this incredible woman, she had $8. Her last $8. Money she needed to feed her daughter, and she spent it on a stranger. A Hell's Angel she'd never met. He put his arm around Emma. That's what real courage looks like. That's what real kindness looks like. Not when it's easy, not when it costs nothing, but when it costs everything. The crowd was silent, listening. Emma Sullivan is family now, not because I say so, because she earned it with her heart, with her sacrifice, with every life she's touched. Since she joined us, he raised his fist. To Emma, 50 voices roared back. To Emma. And Emma stood there surrounded by people she'd been taught to fear and felt more at home than she'd ever felt in her life. After the celebration, Hawk pulled her aside. Walk with me. They walked to the edge of the lot away from the crowd. I have something to tell you, Hawk said. Something I've been thinking about since I was in that hospital bed. What is it? He stopped, turned to face her. I want to build something bigger. A community center, right here in Riverside. A place where anyone can come for help. Food banks, job training, medical clinics, after-school programs, everything under one roof. Emma's heart raced. That's incredible. It's going to cost a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of work. His eyes locked onto hers. And I want you to run it. Me, you. He grabbed her shoulders. I've watched you these past 3 weeks, Emma. I've seen what you can do. You have something that can't be taught. People trust you. They open up to you. They believe in you. Hawk, I don't know if I'm qualified. Oh, well. Stop. His voice was firm. Stop telling yourself you're not enough. Stop believing what the world told you when you had nothing. You are more than qualified. You are exactly what this community needs. Emma's eyes filled with tears. And one more thing, Hawk said. The center. I want to name it after both of them. Both of who on both Lily's, my daughter and yours. He smiled. Lily's house, a place where anyone can find hope, where anyone can find family, where anyone can get a second chance. Emma couldn't speak, could barely breathe. What do you say? Hawk asked. Will you help me build it? She thought about everything that had led her here. The years of struggle, the nights of despair, the $8 that had changed everything. She thought about her grandmother's words. Kindness costs nothing, baby. And she realized something. Her grandmother was wrong. Kindness didn't cost nothing. It cost everything. But it was worth it, every single time. Yes, Emma said, I'll help you build it. Hawk pulled her into another hug. Then let's change the world, Emma Sullivan. One life at a time. Behind them, the sun was setting over Riverside. And somewhere in the distance, a little girl named Lily. 2 little girls named Lily were watching, smiling, proud. The construction site was chaos. Bulldozers, cement trucks, workers shouting over the noise. And in the middle of it all, Emma stood with a hard hat on her head and blueprints in her hands. The medical clinic goes here, she said, pointing, and the food bank needs to be near the loading dock for deliveries. The foreman, a grizzled man named Chuck, who'd built half the buildings in Riverside, scratched his beard. That's going to require rerouting the plumbing, add another week to the timeline. Can we afford another week? Can we afford to do it wrong? Emma sighed. Do it right, we'll find the time. Chuck nodded and walked away, barking orders at his crew. 3 months since Hawk proposed Lily's house. 3 months of planning fundraising permits and sleepless nights. The Channel 7 story had brought in donations, but not enough. Not nearly enough. The total came $2.3 million. They'd raised $1.8 million so far. $500,000 short, and the bills kept coming. Emma's phone buzzed. Hawk. Tell me something good, she answered. The city council approved our tax exemption. Saves us about 40 grand a year. Emma closed her eyes. Thank God. How's the site? Behind schedule? Over budget? The usual. Hawk laughed. You're doing great, Emma. I'm doing my best. That's all anyone can ask. He paused. Listen, I need you at the office by 3. There's someone I want you to meet. Who? A potential donor. Big money, but he's particular. Particular how? You'll see. 3 o'clock. Don't be late. He hung up. Emma stared at the construction site, the skeleton of a building that would become Lily's house, a place that existed only because she'd spent $8 on a stranger. Sometimes the universe worked in mysterious ways. She checked her watch. 1:45. Time to move. The man sitting in Hawk's office was exactly what Emma expected a wealthy donor to look like. Expensive suit, silver hair. Watch that cost more than her old car. He stood when she entered, extending a manicured hand. Richard Thornton, pleasure to meet you. Emma Sullivan. His grip was firm. His smile was practiced. His eyes were calculating. I've heard a lot about you, Ms. Sullivan, the woman with the $8. Quite the story. It's just the truth. The best stories usually are. He sat back down. I'll get straight to the point. I'm considering a significant donation to your foundation. $1 million. Emma's heart stopped. 1 million? That would cover your shortfall and then some correct. Yes, more than cover it. Good, he leaned forward. But I have conditions. Emma glanced at Hawk. His face was unreadable. What kind of conditions? Thornton smiled. I want naming rights. The building won't be called Lily's house. It'll be called the Thornton Community Center. The room went cold. No, Emma said. Thornton blinked. Excuse me. I said no. The building is named after 2 little girls who died too young. Hawk's daughter and mine share that name. It means something. It's not for sale. Everything is for sale, Ms. Sullivan. It's just a matter of price. Not this, not ever. Thornton's smile faded. You're making a mistake. $1 million could change everything for your foundation. Not if it costs us our soul. Emma stood up. Thank you for your time, Mr. Thornton, but we'll find another way. She walked out. Hawk caught up with her in the hallway. That was a lot of money to walk away from. I know. You didn't even hesitate. The name matters, Hawk. It's the whole point. Everything we've built is about honoring those girls, about keeping their memory alive. She turned to face him. If we sell that, what are we even doing? Hawk studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled. I knew you'd say that. What? That meeting was a test, Emma. I needed to know if you'd hold the line when the pressure came. Emma stared at him. A test. Thornton's real. His money's real. But I told him ahead of time that you'd probably refuse. Hawk put his hand on her shoulder. You just proved something important. You can't be bought. This foundation is in good hands. Emma didn't know whether to hug him or hit him. That was cruel. That was necessary. He started walking. Now come on. We've got $500,000 to raise. The next 2 months were the hardest of Emma's life. She gave speeches at Rotary clubs, church groups, business associations. Anyone who would listen. She wrote grants until her fingers ached. 57 applications, 43 rejections. She organized fundraisers, car washes, bake sales, a charity motorcycle ride that brought in $12,000. She called every person she'd ever helped, asked them to spread the word. And slowly, impossibly, the money started coming in. Dorothy Williams organized a fundraiser at her church, raised $8,500. Marcus Thompson reached out to veteran organizations across the state, another $15,000. Isabella Ramirez started a GoFundMe that went viral among college students, 22,000 in 2 weeks, but it still wasn't enough. One night, Emma sat in her apartment, staring at the spreadsheet. 427,000 raised, 73,000 short. Construction was 80% complete. They needed the final payment in 3 weeks or work would stop. Lily came padding out of her bedroom. "Mommy, why aren't you sleeping?" Emma quickly wiped her eyes. "Just working, baby. Go back to bed." Lily climbed into her lap instead. "You're crying." "I'm just tired." "You always say that." Lily touched her mother's face. "Is it about the building, the one named after me?" Emma smiled despite herself. "It's named after you and another little girl, Hawk's daughter." "I know, he told me about her." Lily's voice got quiet. "He showed me her picture. She had blonde hair like me." "She did. He said she was brave, really brave, even when she was sick." "She was." Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she looked up at her mother with those serious eyes. "Mommy, I want to help." "Help how, baby?" "I have money in my piggy bank, from birthday cards and the tooth fairy." She bit her lip. "It's not a lot, $23, but you always said even small things matter." Emma's heart shattered into a million pieces. "Oh, Lily, is that not enough?" Emma pulled her daughter close, crying into her hair. "It's more than enough, baby. It's more than enough." The next morning, Emma posted a video on social media, just her and Lily sitting on their couch. No script, no production value, just truth. "My name is Emma Sullivan. 4 months ago, I had $8 to my name. I spent it saving a stranger's life, not knowing it would change everything." Lily waved at the camera. "Hi, I'm Lily." Emma smiled. "Last night, my daughter offered to donate her entire piggy bank to help us finish building Lily's house. $23, every cent she has." She held up the jar of coins and crumpled bills. "If a 7-year-old can give everything she has, what can you give? We're $73,000 short. 3 weeks to finish, every dollar matters." She looked directly into the camera. "4 months ago, strangers changed my life. Now I'm asking strangers to help me change others. Please help us build something beautiful." She posted the video at 9 a.m. By noon, it had 50,000 views. By 6 p.m., 200,000. By midnight, over 1 million. And the donations poured in. $5 from a student in Ohio, $500 from a businessman in Texas, $10,000 from a woman in Florida who'd lost her own daughter to cancer. Message after message flooded Emma's inbox. "I saw your video. I cried for an hour. Here's what I can give. Your daughter reminded me what generosity looks like. God bless you both. I was that stranger once. Someone helped me when I had nothing. Now I'm paying it forward." 3 days later, Emma checked the total. $147,328 raised. They'd exceeded their goal by over $70,000. Emma sat at her desk, staring at the number, unable to process it. Rosa found her there, tears streaming down her face. "Mija, what's wrong?" "We did it." Emma's voice cracked. "We actually did it." Rosa pulled her into a hug. "Of course we did. Did you ever doubt it?" "Every single day." "Good. That means you were paying attention." Rosa handed her a tissue. "Now dry your eyes. We've got a building to finish." The day Lily's house opened was the proudest moment of Emma's life. The ribbon-cutting ceremony drew over 500 people. Local politicians, business owners, families who'd been helped by the foundation, bikers from chapters across the state. And in the front row, holding Emma's hand, stood Lily. Hawk stepped up to the microphone. 6 months ago, I died in a gas station parking lot." The crowd went silent. My heart stopped. I was gone, and everyone around me, everyone except one woman, decided I wasn't worth saving. He looked at Emma. That woman had $8, her last $8, money she needed for her daughter. And she spent it on me, a stranger, a hell's angel, someone the world told her to fear. His voice broke. That woman gave me a second chance, and I swore I would spend the rest of my life earning it. He gestured at the building behind him. "This is Lily's house. Named after my daughter who died 10 years ago, and named after that woman's daughter who stands here today. He smiled at little Lily. Two girls, two angels, one mission to help anyone who needs it. No questions asked, no judgment, just love. The crowd applauded. Hawk handed Emma the giant scissors. You want to do the honors? Emma shook her head. Together, she positioned Lily between them. 3 sets of hands on the scissors. Ready? Emma asked. Lily grinned. Ready? They cut the ribbon, the crowd erupted, and Lily's house was officially open. Inside the building buzzed with activity, a food bank stocked with enough supplies for 200 families, a medical clinic offering free checkups and basic care, a job training center with computers and resume services, an after-school program for kids whose parents worked multiple jobs. Emma walked through the halls, touching the walls like she couldn't believe they were real. Dorothy Williams found her near the food bank. Can you believe this? Dorothy asked, her eyes shining. 6 months ago, I wanted to end my life. Now I'm volunteering at a place that saves them. Emma hugged her. You saved yourself, Dorothy. We just helped. Marcus Thompson was setting up the Veteran Services Center. We've already got 30 vets signed up for next week, he said. Word's spreading. Guys I served with are driving in from 3 states away. That's amazing, Marcus. He grabbed her hand. No, you're amazing. You saw me when I was invisible. You gave me a reason to keep going. His eyes glistened. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure no vet feels as alone as I did. Isabella Ramirez was helping kids with homework in the after-school room. This is where I want to work when I graduate, she told Emma. Right here, helping kids like me who don't have anyone. We'll hold a spot for you. Promise, Emma smiled. Promise. She found Hawk in the medical clinic talking to the volunteer doctors. How does it feel? She asked. He turned to her and she saw tears on his weathered face. It feels like Lily's watching, like she finally gets to see what her daddy's been doing all these years. He wiped his eyes. It feels like purpose, Emma. Like everything I've been through losing her, the grief, the anger, the pain, it all led here. To this building. To you. He grabbed her shoulders. You're the missing piece, Emma. The heart I've been looking for. This foundation existed for 10 years, but it never felt complete. Not until you walked into that gas station. Emma's throat tightened. I just did what anyone would do. No, you did what no one else would do. That's the difference. He pulled her into a hug. Thank you for saving my life, for believing in this dream, for being exactly who you are. They stood there in the clinic they'd built together, surrounded by the sounds of a community coming alive. The grand opening party lasted until midnight. Food, music, laughter, bikers dancing with grandmothers, kids running through the halls, families who'd been strangers becoming friends. Emma watched it all from a quiet corner, overwhelmed. Viper appeared beside her. Hell of a thing you built. We built it together. Nah. He shook his head. Don't deflect. You're the one who made this happen. The fundraising, the organization, the vision. He raised his beer. I've been riding with Hawk for 20 years. I've seen a lot of people try to do what he does. You're the only one who actually gets it. Gets what? That it's not about the money, not about the buildings, not about looking good. He tapped his chest. It's about connection, making people feel seen, making them feel like they matter. Emma thought about all the people she'd helped over the past 6 months. Dorothy, Marcus, Isabella, dozens of others whose names she'd learned, whose stories she'd heard, whose lives had intersected with hers. I almost walked away that night, she admitted. At the gas station. For a second, I thought about listening to them. The attendant, the trucker. I almost convinced myself it wasn't my problem. But you didn't. No. Why? Emma was quiet for a moment. Because my grandmother's voice was louder than my fear. She always said kindness cost nothing. That night, I found out she was wrong. It cost me everything I had. She looked at Viper. But it gave me everything I needed. He nodded slowly. Hawk says you've got the gift. The ability to see people for who they really are, not what they look like or what the world says about them. I just see humans. Same as anyone else. That's the point. Viper smiled. Most people don't see humans. They see labels, categories, stereotypes. You see souls. He clinked his bottle against her coffee cup and walked away. Emma stayed in her corner, watching the party, feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Real hope. Not the desperate hope of survival, the solid hope of purpose. She was exactly where she was supposed to be. 3 weeks later, Emma got a phone call that changed everything. It was 2 a.m. Lily was asleep. Emma was reviewing case files when her phone rang. Rose's number. Hello? Emma? Rose's voice was strained. It's Hawk. He collapsed at the clubhouse. We're at the hospital now. Emma's blood turned to ice. What happened? His heart. The doctors are running tests. It's bad, Emma. It's really bad. She was at the hospital in 15 minutes. Mrs. Chen came to stay with Lily. The waiting room was full of bikers. Viper, Gears, Donna, a dozen others. All of them looking like the world was ending. Rosa met her at the door, mascara streaked down her face. They're still working on him. Nobody's telling us anything. What happened? He was fine at the party. He hasn't been fine. Rosa's voice cracked. He's been hiding it. Chest pains for weeks. He wouldn't let anyone call the doctors. Said he didn't want to worry us. Emma's heart shattered. That stubborn old man. He's been working himself to death. Ever since you started, he's been pushing harder than ever. The fundraising, the construction, the outreach. Rosa grabbed her hands. He wanted to see it finished. He wanted to know everything was in good hands before she couldn't finish. Before what? Rosa just shook her head. The doctor came out an hour later. Young, exhausted, grim. Family of Richard Kane. Everyone stood up. The doctor looked at the crowd of bikers. All of you, all of us, Viper said. The doctor nodded slowly. Kane suffered a major cardiac event. We've stabilized him, but the damage to his heart is significant. He needs surgery, a bypass. Without it, what? Emma demanded. Without it, he has weeks, maybe days. The room spun. Viper stepped forward. Then do the surgery, whatever it costs, whatever it takes. It's not about cost. The doctor hesitated. Mr. Kane is refusing the surgery. Silence. What? Emma whispered. He says he's lived a full life. He says he's made his peace. He's asked to be discharged so he can... The doctor swallowed. So he can spend his remaining time with his family. Emma pushed past the doctor. Where is he? Where? Ma'am, you can't. Where is he? The doctor pointed down the hall. Emma found Hawk in a small room hooked up to machines, looking smaller than she'd ever seen him. His eyes opened when she walked in. Emma, his voice was a whisper. You shouldn't be here. Don't you dare. She marched to his bedside. Don't you dare lie there and tell me you're giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm accepting reality. Reality is that you have a chance. Surgery. They can fix this. I've been living on borrowed time since that gas station. He smiled weakly. You gave me 6 extra months, Emma. 6 months I shouldn't have had. 6 months to see Lily's house built, to see the foundation in good hands. I don't want 6 months. I want 60 years. Life doesn't work that way. Emma grabbed his hand, tears streaming down her face. You can't leave. Not now, not after everything. The foundation needs you. The club needs you. Her voice broke. I need you. Hawk's eyes filled with tears. That's why I can leave, Emma. Because you don't need me. You never did. He squeezed her hand. I spent 30 years building something I thought was important, but it wasn't complete until you came along. You're the future of this foundation. You're the one who'll carry it forward. I can't do it without you. Yes, you can. You've been doing it for months. He coughed. I've been watching you, learning from you. Emma, you have something I never had. You connect with people. You make them believe in themselves. You see the best in everyone, even when they can't see it themselves. Because you taught me, no, because that's who you are, who you've always been. I just gave you a platform. He pulled her closer. Promise me something. Anything. Keep going. Keep building. Keep helping. His grip tightened. Don't let my death be the end of this story. Let it be the beginning of a new chapter. Emma sobbed. Please, Hawk, please have the surgery. Please fight. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at her with those gray eyes that had seen so much. You really want me to fight? More than anything. Even though I'm tired, even though I've made my peace. Yes. Another long silence. Lily would want you to fight, Emma whispered. You're Lily. She'd want her daddy to keep going, to keep helping people, to keep making her proud. Hawk's face crumpled. For the first time since she'd known him, he looked vulnerable, afraid. I miss her so much, he whispered. Every day, every single day. I know. Sometimes I think the only reason I'm still here is because I haven't finished what she asked me to do. Then you're not finished, Emma wiped her eyes. There are still people who need help, still families who are struggling, still kids who need what Lily's house can give them. She squeezed his hand. Fight, Hawk, not for me, not for the foundation. Fight for her. Fight for every little girl who needs to know that angels are real. Hawk closed his eyes. For a terrible moment, Emma thought she'd lost him. Then he spoke. Call the doctor. Tell them I'll do the surgery. Emma collapsed against the bed, sobbing with relief. Thank you, thank you. Don't thank me yet. He managed a weak smile. I'm an old man with a bad heart. No guarantees. I don't need guarantees. I just need you to try. He nodded slowly. For Lily, both of them. The surgery took 8 hours. Emma waited in the chapel surrounded by bikers who'd never prayed before but were praying now. Mrs. Patterson came with coffee and sandwiches. Dorothy Williams sat with Emma holding her hand. Marcus Thompson stood guard at the door like he was protecting them from an unseen enemy. Lily called 3 times, worried, wanting to know if the nice man with the beard was okay. He's fighting, baby, Emma told her each time. He's fighting as hard as he can. At 6 a.m., the surgeon emerged. Emma stood so fast she nearly fell. He made it, the surgeon smiled. It was close, but he made it. He's a fighter, that one. The room erupted in cheers. Emma walked into Hawk's recovery room an hour later. He was awake, weak, but alive. Hey, Angel, he rasped. Miss me? Emma laughed through her tears. Don't ever scare me like that again. No promises. He reached for her hand. Thank you. For what? For making me fight. I was ready to give up. His eyes glistened. I'd forgotten that there was still work to do, still people to help, still a reason to wake up every morning. You gave me that reason 6 months ago, and now you've given it back to me. He squeezed her hand. We make a good team, Emma Sullivan. The best team. He smiled and closed his eyes. Emma sat beside him, holding his hand, listening to the steady beep of the heart monitor. He was alive. They'd been given another chance, and she was going to make sure they didn't waste it. 2 weeks later, Hawk was released from the hospital. The doctors gave strict orders. Rest, no stress, limited activity. Hawk ignored all of them within 48 hours. You're supposed to be resting, Emma said, finding him at his desk at the foundation office. I am resting. I'm sitting down, aren't I? That's not what rest means. I've been resting for 2 weeks. I'm going crazy. He shuffled through papers. There are people who need help, cases to review, decisions to make. Emma pulled the papers out of his hands. Those can wait. Emma. No. She knelt beside his chair. You almost died, Hawk, twice now. You don't get to throw that away because you're bored. He looked at her, and for a moment she saw the fear underneath his stubborn exterior. I don't know how to stop, he admitted. This work, it's all I have. All I've had since Lily died. If I stop, I have to sit with the grief, the memories, the emptiness. Emma took his hands. You're not alone anymore. You have the foundation. You have the club. You have me. She smiled. Let me carry some of the weight. That's why you hired me, remember? I hired you because you were the only person stubborn enough to save a Hell's Angel with $8. Same thing, he laughed. A real laugh, the first one she'd heard since before his collapse. Fine, he said, I'll rest, but you have to promise to keep me updated. Every case, every decision. I want to know everything. Deal. She stood up, then paused at the door. Hawk, yeah. Thank you for fighting, for staying, for giving us all another chance. His eyes softened. Thank you for making it worth fighting for. Emma walked out of his office carrying the weight of 1,000 families on her shoulders. But for the first time, she didn't feel crushed by it. She felt lifted because she wasn't carrying it alone, and she never would be again. 1 year, 365 days since Emma Sullivan spent her last $8 on a dying stranger. She stood at the window of her new office at Lily's house watching families stream through the front doors. A mother with 3 kids heading to the food bank. An elderly man shuffling toward the medical clinic. A teenager clutching college brochures heading to the career center. Every face, every story, every life touched by what had started with 8 crumpled dollars. Her phone buzzed, a text from Lily. "Mommy, don't forget school play tonight, you promised." Emma smiled. "I'll be there, baby. Front row." She grabbed her coat and headed downstairs. The lobby was chaos, good chaos, the kind of chaos that meant people were getting help. Rosa intercepted her at the door. "Where do you think you're going?" "Lily's school play, I promised. But the Martinez family is coming in at 4, and the city council wants to schedule a meeting about the expansion. And Rosa," Emma put her hands on the older woman's shoulders. "I missed too many things when I was drowning. Recitals, school events, bedtime stories. I'm not missing any more." Rosa's face softened. "You're a good mother, mija." "I'm trying to be." Emma kissed her cheek. "Handle the Martinez family. Push the council meeting to tomorrow. I'll be back after the play." She walked out into the afternoon sun, her heart lighter than it had been in years. The school auditorium was packed. Emma found a seat in the 3rd row, not quite front row, but close enough. Mrs. Chen sat beside her clutching a bouquet of flowers. "I'm so nervous," Mrs. Chen whispered. "More nervous than Lily, I think." "She's going to be amazing. She's always amazing, just like her mother." The lights dimmed, the curtain rose, and there was Lily, center stage, wearing a yellow dress and paper wings. She was playing an angel. Emma's throat tightened. The play was a simple story about kindness, about helping others, about seeing the good in people. Lily had one big speech near the end. She stepped forward, looked directly at the audience, and spoke in a clear, strong voice that carried to every corner of the room. "Sometimes angels don't have wings. Sometimes they're just regular people who do something good when nobody's watching. My mommy taught me that. She said kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything." Emma couldn't breathe. Lily found her mother's eyes in the audience and smiled. "So if you see someone who needs help, help them. Even if you're scared. Even if other people say don't. Because that's what angels do." The audience erupted in applause. Emma wiped her tears and clapped until her hands hurt. After the play, Lily ran into her arms. "Did you see me, Mommy? Did you see Iko, baby? You were perfect. I wrote that speech myself. Well, Miss Thompson helped a little, but the part about you was all me." Emma held her daughter tight, this miracle child who had somehow understood everything without being told. "I'm so proud of you, Lily." "I'm proud of you too, Mommy." They walked home together, hand in hand, through streets that no longer felt dangerous. Past neighbors who waved and smiled instead of looking away. Everything had changed. Everything. The next morning, Emma arrived at Lily's house to find a crowd outside. News vans, reporters, cameras everywhere. Rosa met her at the door, beaming. "What's going on? We won." "Won what?" Rosa shoved a newspaper into her hands. The headline made Emma's knees buckle. "Lily's Angels Foundation awarded $5 million federal grant for national expansion." Emma stared at the words, read them again, read them a 3rd time. $5 million. $5 million. Rosa was crying. "We can open centers in 10 cities, 20 cities. We can help thousands of families." Emma walked through the crowd in a daze, answering questions she couldn't quite hear, smiling for photos she couldn't quite see. $5 million. A year ago, she'd had 8. Inside the building, Hawk was waiting. He looked healthier than he had in months. The surgery had given him a second chance, and he'd finally learned how to rest, how to delegate, how to trust. "Congratulations," he said, pulling her into a hug. "You did it. We did it." "No." He pulled back, looked her in the eye. "This grant came because of you, Emma, because of your vision, your leadership, your ability to make people believe in something bigger than themselves." "Hawk, I'm serious. When you came to me a year ago, I thought I was giving you an opportunity. Turns out you were giving me one. His eyes glistened. You saved my life twice. Once in that parking lot, and once by showing me that my daughter's legacy was in good hands. Emma hugged him again tighter this time. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for being worth believing in. The celebration lasted all day. Families came to share their stories. Volunteers came to offer congratulations. City officials came to shake hands and take photos. And through it all, Emma kept thinking about the journey. $8, a dying stranger, a choice. That's all it had taken to change everything. That evening, after the crowds had gone, Emma sat in her office going through case files. 1 year of work, 1 year of lives changed. She pulled out a folder marked Impact Report and started reading. 712 families served, 3,400 individuals helped, 47 families saved from eviction, 123 veterans connected with services, 89 children enrolled in after-school programs, 62 people placed in jobs, 28 medical emergencies addressed, and those were just the numbers. They didn't capture the real stories. Dorothy Williams, who'd wanted to end her life a year ago, was now the volunteer coordinator. She showed up every day at 7 a.m., stayed until 6 p.m., and spent her weekends organizing donation drives. Marcus Thompson had started a peer support group for homeless veterans that had grown to over 200 members. He'd reconnected with his family. He was getting married next month. Isabella Ramirez had finished her first year of college with a 3.8 GPA. She spent her summers interning at Lily's house, learning the ropes, preparing to take over someday. Mrs. Patterson, the neighbor who'd once told Emma to let Hawk die, had become one of their most dedicated advocates. She spoke at churches, Rotary clubs, and community centers, telling everyone who would listen about the power of second chances. Even the gas station attendant had come around. Tyler showed up at Lily's house 3 months ago, hat in hand, shame written all over his face. I saw the news coverage, he'd said, about the foundation, about what you've built, and I couldn't stop thinking about that night, about what I said, what I didn't do. Emma had let him talk. I told you to let him die. I watched you beg for help, and I walked away. His voice cracked. I've never been able to forgive myself for that. What do you want, Tyler? I want to help. I want to volunteer. I want to... He broke down. I want to be better. Please, give me a chance to be better. Emma thought about it for a long moment. Then she handed him a volunteer application. Fill this out. Show up tomorrow at 8 a.m. Don't be late. Tyler had been volunteering every weekend since. He worked in the food bank, loading boxes, stocking shelves, doing the grunt work nobody else wanted to do. He never complained, never asked for recognition, just showed up and did the work. Last week, Emma had found him crying in the storage room. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. He wiped his eyes. Everything's right. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm actually doing something that matters. You are? Because you gave me a chance. You didn't have to. After what I did, what I didn't do, you could have told me to go to hell. But you didn't. He looked at her with red eyes. Why? Emma smiled. Because someone gave me a chance once. And the only way to repay that is to give others the same opportunity. She thought about Tyler now, stacking canned goods in the food bank. About all the people who'd been transformed by Lily's house. Not just the families who received help, but the volunteers who gave it. Kindness was contagious. That was the truth she'd discovered. One act of kindness led to another, and another, and another, until the whole world started to change. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Titan, Miss Sullivan. This is Jennifer Blake from Channel 7 News. We met about 10 months ago. The reporter. The one who'd done the first story on the foundation. I remember. What can I do for you? I'm working on a follow-up piece, a 1-year anniversary story. The grant announcement is big news, but I want to go deeper. I want to show our viewers what really happens inside Lily's house. What did you have in mind? A day in the life feature. Cameras following you, your team, your families, raw and real. No filters. Emma thought about it. The exposure would bring more donations, more awareness, more families helped, but it would also expose their vulnerabilities, their struggles, the cases they couldn't solve, the people they couldn't save. Can I think about it? Of course, but Emma, the story you're building here, it needs to be told. People need to see that change is possible, that one person really can make a difference. Emma hung up and stared at the phone. One person. Was that really all it took? The next morning, Emma made a decision. She called Jennifer Blake and said yes to the feature. Then she called a staff meeting. Everyone gathered in the main hall. Rosa, Viper, Gears, Donna, Dorothy, Marcus, Isabella, 23 staff members and 47 volunteers. Emma stood at the front, heart pounding. I have something to tell you all. The room went quiet. A year ago, I was exactly where many of our clients are now, broke, scared, alone. I had $8 to my name and no idea how I was going to feed my daughter breakfast the next morning. She looked around the room at the faces that had become family. That night, I made a choice. I spent my last $8 on a stranger, a Hell's Angel I'd never met. And everyone told me I was making a mistake. Her voice grew stronger. They told me he wasn't worth saving. They told me I should think about my daughter. They told me that some people don't deserve help. She shook her head. They were wrong. They were all wrong. Because what I've learned this year is that everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves to be seen as a human being, not a stereotype. She gestured around the room. That's what we do here. We see people, we help people, we change lives, not because it's easy, not because it's profitable, but because it's right. The room was silent. Channel 7 wants to do a feature on us, a day in the life piece. I said yes, but I want you all to understand what that means. They're going to see our struggles, our failures, the cases we can't solve, the people we can't save. She took a breath. But they're also going to see our successes, our victories, the families we've transformed, the lives we've changed. They're going to see what happens when ordinary people decide to be extraordinary. She looked at each face one by one. So here's my question. Are you ready to show the world what we've built? Are you ready to inspire others to do the same? Dorothy stepped forward first. I'm in. This place saved my life. If my story can help someone else, I'll tell it 1,000 times. Marcus stood next. Same. Every veteran in this country needs to know that help exists, that they're not forgotten. Isabella raised her hand. I want every foster kid to see what is possible, that aging out doesn't mean giving up. One by one, every person in the room stood. Every voice joined the chorus. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Then let's show them. Let's show them what kindness looks like. The filming took 3 days. Jennifer Blake and her crew followed Emma from dawn to midnight, capturing everything. The 6 a.m. staff meetings, the case reviews, the family visits, the moments of triumph and the moments of heartbreak. They filmed Dorothy counseling a widow who just lost her husband. I know what you're feeling. I know how dark it seems. But you're not alone, not anymore. They filmed Marcus leading a veteran support group, 20 men in a circle sharing stories they'd never told anyone. This room is sacred. What happens here stays here. No judgment, no shame, just brothers helping brothers. They filmed Isabella tutoring a 15-year-old foster kid, helping him with algebra, telling him about college applications, showing him a future he'd never imagined. You're smart enough. You're good enough. Don't let anyone tell you different. They filmed Emma meeting with a young mother, white 24, blonde hair, 2 kids who'd just escaped an abusive relationship. I don't know how to start over, the woman said, tears streaming down her face. I have nothing. He took everything. Emma took her hands. I was you, not that long ago, different circumstances, but the same feeling, the same fear. She squeezed. And I'm telling you right now that you're going to be okay. We're going to help you. You're not alone. The woman broke down sobbing. Emma held her until the tears stopped. Later, Jennifer pulled Emma aside. That moment with the young mother, that was incredible. That was just Tuesday. How do you do it day after day, absorbing all this pain, all this trauma? How do you keep going? Emma thought about the question. Because every time I help someone, I see myself. The me from a year ago. The me who was desperate and scared and had no one. She shrugged. I can't go back in time and help that versions of myself, but I can help the person standing in front of me. And that's enough. That has to be enough. The feature aired on a Sunday evening. Emma watched it at Lily's house, surrounded by staff and volunteers and families. Jennifer Blake's voiceover opened the piece. 1 year ago, a single mother with $8 to her name made a choice that would change everything. Today, we take you inside the foundation that choice created. This is the story of Lily's house. The next 60 minutes showcased everything they'd built. The food bank that served 200 families a week. The medical clinic that had provided over 3,000 free checkups. The job training center that had placed 62 people in stable employment. The after-school program that was keeping kids off the streets and in the classroom. But more than the statistics, the feature showed the human stories. Dorothy talking about her transformation from suicidal widow to volunteer coordinator. Emma Sullivan saved my life, and now I get to help save others. Marcus breaking down while describing his journey from homelessness to hope. This place gave me a reason to live. That's not an exaggeration. That's the literal truth. Isabella beaming as she showed off her college acceptance letter. I used to think I was invisible, that nobody cared what happened to me. Lily's house taught me that I was wrong. And Tyler, the gas station attendant, standing in the food bank surrounded by boxes of donated goods. I was the guy who told Emma to let a man die. I was the guy who refused to help, and she still gave me a chance to be better. His voice cracked. That's what grace looks like. That's what redemption looks like. The feature ended with Emma sitting in her office, Lily on her lap. Jennifer's voice asked the final question. What do you want people to take away from this story? Emma looked at the camera. I want people to know that change is possible, that one person really can make a difference, that kindness, real kindness, the kind that cost you something, is the most powerful force in the world. She hugged her daughter. I want people to look at their $8, whatever their $8 is, and ask themselves, what am I doing with it? Who could I help? What life could I change? The camera lingered on her face. Because here's the truth. We all have more power than we think. We all have the ability to be someone's angel. We just have to choose to do it. The screen faded to black. The room at Lily's house exploded in applause. The feature broke records. 12 million viewers on its initial broadcast. Another 40 million online views within the first week. Donations poured in. Volunteers flooded the phone lines. Other cities reached out asking for guidance on starting their own programs. Emma gave interviews, spoke at conferences, became a spokesperson for kindness in a world that had forgotten what it looked like. But through it all, she never forgot where she came from. Every morning before the chaos began, she sat in her office and wrote in a small journal. 3 things she was grateful for, just like her grandmother had taught her. And every night before she went to bed, she looked at the framed receipt on her wall. Aspirin, water, $7.82. The receipt the nurse had found in Hawk's pocket. The receipt that had started everything. 1 year to the day after the gas station, Emma returned to the spot where it all began. The Maple Street gas station looked the same as it had that night. Fluorescent lights buzzing, empty parking lot. The same board attendant, not Tyler, a different one, staring at his phone inside. Emma walked to the spot where Hawk had collapsed, where she'd knelt in the oil-stained pavement and fought to save a stranger's life. She stood there for a long moment, remembering. The fear, the doubt, the voices telling her to walk away, and the choice she'd made despite all of it. Footsteps behind her. She turned. Hawk stood there, healthier than he'd looked in years. Behind him, Viper, Rosa, Dorothy, Marcus, Isabella. The whole family. What are you all doing here? Hawk smiled. You didn't think we'd let you do this alone, did you? He walked to her side and looked down at the pavement. 1 year ago, I died right here. My heart stopped. My life was over. He turned to face her, and then a stranger with $8 and a good heart brought me back. He reached into his vest and pulled out a small box. This is for you, from all of us. Emma opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a medallion, bronze heavy, engraved with words. The $8 award for extraordinary kindness in the face of extraordinary odds. Emma's tears fell onto the metal. We created this award, Hawk said, to honor people like you, people who give everything they have to help someone else, people who choose kindness when the world tells them to choose fear. He pointed to the back of the medallion. Emma turned it over. Engraved, there were three words, both Lily's legacy. She broke down completely. Rosa held her from one side, Hawk from the other. The whole family surrounded her, holding her up, reminding her that she wasn't alone. There's one more thing, Viper said. He pulled out a small plaque and walked to the wall of the gas station. We got permission from the owner. This is going right here, permanently. He mounted the plaque on the brick wall right next to the spot where Hawk had fallen. Emma read the words through her tears. Here on this spot, a stranger with $8 saved a life and changed the world. In honor of Emma Sullivan in the Lily's Angels Foundation. Kindness costs nothing. Give it freely. She touched the plaque, tracing the letters with her finger. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Hawk said. You've already said it. With your actions, with your choices, with every life you've touched. He put his arm around her. A year ago, you asked me why I wanted you to run the foundation. Do you remember what I said? Emma nodded. You said I was the missing piece. I was wrong. He shook his head. You weren't the missing piece. You were the whole puzzle. Everything I'd been building for 30 years was just preparation for you. His voice caught. My daughter Lily, my little girl, she asked me to help people. With her dying breath, she made me promise. And I did. I tried. For 10 years I tried. He wiped his eyes. But I was doing it wrong. I was giving money, resources, things. What I wasn't giving was what you give. Connection, understanding, love. He turned her to face him. You taught me how to really help people, Emma. Not just with what we have, but with who we are. That's a gift I can never repay. Emma hugged him, this man who'd started as a stranger and become a father. You already repaid it, the moment you believed in me. They stood together at the Mihi station, surrounded by family as the sun began to set. 1 year ago, this had been the loneliest place in the world. Tonight, it was sacred ground. 3 months later, Emma got a phone call that made her cry. Miss Sullivan, this is the White House calling. I'm sorry, what? The president would like to honor you at a ceremony next month. The Presidential Medal for Community Service. For your work with the Lily's Angels Foundation. Emma sat down slowly. Is this a joke? No, ma'am. The president was very moved by your story. He'd like to recognize your contributions to communities across America. I don't know what to say. Say yes, ma'am. We'll handle the rest. Emma hung up and stared at the phone. A year and a half ago, she couldn't afford breakfast. Now the President of the United States wanted to give her a medal. The ceremony was held in the Rose Garden. Emma wore a dress she'd bought for the occasion, the first new dress she'd owned in years. Lily wore a matching yellow outfit, her hair in perfect braids thanks to Mrs. Chen. Hawk was there. Rosa, Viper, Dorothy, Marcus, Isabella. The whole family had made the trip. The president stood at the podium, cameras flashing, the nation watching. Emma Sullivan represents the best of America, he said. Not the America of power and wealth and privilege. The America of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. The America of neighbors helping neighbors. The America we were always meant to be. He turned to Emma. Ms. Sullivan, your story began with $8 and a choice. That choice has now touched over 10,000 lives. You've proven that one person with nothing but a good heart can change the world. He pinned the medal on her dress. On behalf of a grateful nation, thank you. The crowd applauded. Emma stepped to the microphone, her hands shaking. I'm not good at speeches, she said. I'm a waitress who got lucky, a mom who made a choice. Nobody special. She looked out at the crowd, at the cameras, at her family in the front row. But here's what I've learned. You don't have to be special to make a difference. You just have to be willing. Willing to see people, willing to help, willing to give what you have even when it's not enough. She touched the medal on her chest. This medal isn't mine. It belongs to everyone who helped build what we've built. To Hawk, who gave me a chance. To Rosa and Viper and all the bikers who showed me that family isn't about blood. To Dorothy and Marcus and Isabella and everyone whose lives touched mine. Her voice strengthened, and it belongs to every person watching who's ever felt invisible, who's ever been told they're not worth helping, who's ever wondered if anyone cares. She looked directly into the camera. I see you. We see you. and we're not going to stop fighting for you. Ever. She stepped back from the microphone. The crowd rose to its feet. And Emma Sullivan, the waitress with $8, received a standing ovation from the most powerful people in the world. After the ceremony, after the photos and the handshakes and the congratulations, Emma found a quiet moment alone in the White House garden. She sat on a bench, metal heavy on her chest, and closed her eyes. "Grandma Rose," she whispered, "I wish you could see this." A breeze rustled the flowers, and for just a moment Emma could have sworn she heard her grandmother's voice. "I see it, baby. I see everything. And I'm so proud." Tears rolled down her cheeks. She sat there until Lily found her tugging on her hand. "Mommy, come on. There's cake." Emma laughed and wiped her eyes. "Okay, baby. Let's go get cake." They walked back to the party together, hand in hand, mother and daughter. Two Lilies, one legacy, and a world that would never be the same. 6 months after the White House ceremony, Emma returned to Riverside. Lily's house had expanded to 15 cities. The foundation had helped over 25,000 families. The movement she'd started had inspired similar programs across the country. But Riverside would always be home. She walked through the doors of the original building, the one they'd built with donations and hope and sheer stubborn will. The walls were covered with photos now, hundreds of them, thousands. Every family they'd helped, every life they'd changed. She stopped at one photo in particular. Her, Hawk, Lily, Rosa, Viper. The whole family standing in front of Lily's house on opening day. A year and a half ago, she'd been alone. Now she had more family than she could count. "Admiring your handiwork," she turned. Hawk stood behind her, older, now grayer, but still strong, still fighting. "Just remembering," she said. "Remembering what? Everything. The gas station, the $8, the fear." She shook her head. "Some days I still can't believe it's real." "It's real." Hawk put his hand on her shoulder. "You made it real every single day." They stood together, looking at the wall of photos. "What now?" Emma asked. "What do you mean, Hawk?" "The foundation is growing. The movement is spreading. We've accomplished more than I ever dreamed." She turned to him. "But I keep feeling like there's more, like we're just getting started." Hawk smiled. "That feeling never goes away. The more you help, the more you see how much help is needed." He squeezed her shoulder. "But that's okay. We don't have to save everyone. We just have to keep trying. One life at a time. One life at a time." She looked back at the photos. "I think about the people we couldn't help," she admitted. "The ones who slipped through the cracks, the ones we weren't fast enough to catch." "I know. I think about them too." "Does it ever get easier?" Hawk was quiet for a long moment. "No," he finally said. "It doesn't get easier, but it gets clearer. You start to understand that you can't save everyone. You can only save the person in front of you. And that has to be enough." Emma nodded slowly. Grandma Rose used to say something similar. She'd say, "You can't carry the whole world, baby, but you can carry your corner of it." Smart woman. The smartest. They walked through the building together, past the food bank and the medical clinic and the job training center, past the after-school room where kids were doing homework, past the veterans lounge where Marcus was leading a support group. Every room full of people, every person full of hope. "You know what I realized," Emma said. "What?" "The night at the gas station when everyone told me to walk away, they weren't wrong, not completely." She stopped choosing her words carefully. "They were scared, just like I was. They'd been hurt by the world just like I had. The only difference was that I chose to act despite my fear. They let their fear choose for them." Hawk nodded. "Fear is a powerful thing. But so is love. So is kindness." Emma smiled. "And those are choices too." They reached the main lobby where a new family was waiting. A young father, black, mid-20s, exhausted, sat with two little girls filling out intake forms. Emma walked over. "Hi, I'm Emma. Can I help you with something?" The man looked up, relief flooding his face. "My wife passed away 2 months ago, cancer. I've been trying to hold things together, but..." His voice cracked. "I got laid off last week. We're about to lose our apartment. I don't know what to do. I don't know where else to go." Emma sat down across from him. "What's your name?" James Wright. "And these are my girls, Destiny and Hope." Ummo looked at the two little girls, 7 and 5 years old maybe, eyes too old for their faces. They'd seen too much, lost too much, just like Lily had. James, I want you to listen to me carefully. Emma took his hand. You're not alone anymore. Whatever you need, housing, food job, training, counseling, we're going to help you, all of you. James broke down crying. I'm sorry, he sobbed. I'm sorry, nobody's helped us. Nobody's even tried. Everyone just keeps telling us there's nothing they can do. We can do something, and we will. Emma squeezed his hand. I was where you are, not that long ago. I know how dark it feels, how hopeless. But I promise it gets better. You just have to let us help. She turned to the little girls. Destiny, Hope. Those are beautiful names. The older girl spoke up, her voice barely a whisper. Mama picked them. She said we were her destiny and her hope. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Your mama was right, and we're going to make sure you live up to those names, both of you. She pulled them all into a hug, this broken family. She'd just met this stranger who'd walked through her doors with nothing but desperation and two little girls. And she thought about the gas station, about the $8, about the choice she'd made when everyone told her not to. This was why. This moment. This family. This chance to be the help that someone desperately needed. This was why kindness mattered. This was why she'd never stop. That night, after James and his daughters had been set up with temporary housing, after the last case file had been reviewed, after the building had emptied out, Emma sat alone in her office. She pulled out her journal, the one she'd kept since her grandmother died. 3 things I'm grateful for today. James writes, daughters smiling for the first time in months. 2, Hawk's health stronger every day. 3, Lily, who reminded me at breakfast that helpers are the best kind of people. She closed the journal and looked at the receipt on her wall. $782, the price of aspirin and water. The price of saving a life. The price of changing the world. She thought about her grandmother's words. Kindness costs nothing, baby. Rose had been wrong about that. Kindness cost everything. It cost your comfort, your safety, your certainty. It cost you the easy path and the safe choice. It cost you the luxury of looking away. But what it gave you in return was worth infinitely more. Connection, purpose, family. The knowledge that your life meant something, that you'd made a difference, that you'd been someone's angel when they needed it most. Emma stood and walked to the window. The streets of Riverside stretched out before her, dotted with lights full of people living their lives. Some of them were struggling. Some of them were hopeless. Some of them were one bad day away from losing everything. But now they had somewhere to go, someone to help, a place where they would be seen and heard and valued. Lily's house, built with $8 and a choice. Emma smiled, and tomorrow she would do it all again. Because that's what angels do. Emma Sullivan started with nothing. 8 crumpled dollars, a daughter to feed, a stranger dying on cold pavement. She made a choice that night, the choice to help when everyone told her not to, the choice to see a human being instead of a stereotype, the choice to give everything she had for someone she'd never met. That choice changed her life, but more than that, it changed thousands of lives. The families fed, the veterans housed, the children educated, the hopeless given hope, and all because one woman decided that kindness mattered more than fear. All because she spent her last $8 on a stranger. So here's the question for you. What's your $8? What do you have that you could give? Who's the stranger in your life who needs help? Because here's the truth, Emma learned. You don't need money to make a difference. You don't need power. You don't need permission. You just need to care and to act. That's it. That's the whole secret. So go. Find your gas station moment. Find your stranger who needs saving. And when the world tells you to walk away, when fear whispers that it's not your problem, that you should protect yourself, that some people aren't worth helping, remember Emma Sullivan. Remember the $8. Remember that one choice, one act of kindness, one moment of courage can change everything. Because it can, it did, and it will again. The only question is, will you be the one to make it happen?